Hey YouTube, it's ShryphonX here. Today we're going to be talking about Chainsaw Man Chapter 211. Like and subscribe for more content. Chainsaw Man Chapter 211 review. A big switch-up. Amidst a dark revelation about Yoru's desires, the series delivers one of its funniest moments as Denji switches sides for panties. In the previous chapter, Yoru achieves ultimate power as America drops rediscovered nuclear bombs, sparking a new world war with the Soviet Union. The chapter, titled War, Panties, Chainsaw, has 15 pages. We pick up where we left off with Death's introduction and the revelation that she didn't carry Denji alone. While she could as a devil, even the horsemen are bound by the laws of physics. Therefore, with Fami's assistance, Death brought Denji into the empty classroom. Death also clarifies that the other girl is the genuine Fami, the famine devil, and that Fami is the real Death Devil. Yoru is now on a killing spree, building a devil army, essentially usurping Death's role in the plot. She stole the pen of God, disrupting the story, but in another sense, this might be the intended outcome. Death lacks control over her power over life and death, because she is beyond reason, a fixture of reality that must exist. However, in her attempts to stop herself, primarily by strengthening Denji and Yoru, she has created a far worse future, a world devoid of death. In a way, she resembles Zerif Dragneel from Fairy Tail, a being who only brings death and seeks to prolong it, only to make things worse, especially as they indulge in their desire to kill others. However, Denji remains skeptical until Miri Sugo vouches for Death and instructs her to expose her belly as proof. If you recall, Death has no innards inside her body, but is this truly sufficient proof? As it turns out, the act of removing her top was enough, as Denji caught a glimpse of Death's panties and momentarily forgot that he might already have a girlfriend. This unexpected turn of events, which can easily be reversed, has Denji switch from Yoru to Death solely because of panties. This classic twist is nothing short of brilliant, but we must ponder the fate of Asa if they were to engage in a fight. The final villain's most brilliant twist, the most remarkable aspect of this chapter, and of Death herself lies in the revelation that she possesses no actual agency in shaping the plot. Although Fami served as the Makima of Part 2, that is not her true essence. While Makima's concept of power and free will is extensively explored, Death is not a mastermind but a mere pawn in the game. As the ultimate devil and the ultimate threat, Death is unable to control herself. She must ensure the flow of life and death, as death is the only way for her, all the devils, and humanity to survive as they are. One could argue that the Death Devil embodies humanity itself. Without the fear of death, humans cannot form societies, develop moralities, justify their actions, or engage in any form of movement. This fear drives humans to create meaning, which in turn leads to more fears, creating more devils. As the final chapter suggests, humans can even recreate their own devils to pursue their self-destructive agendas. The setup for Part 2 is that death will ultimately destroy humanity. But what if ending death is what ultimately leads to humanity's demise? All that will remain is a world that perpetually kills itself, experiencing constant pain and having no end to the reasons for hatred. Yes, in this world, the devils might find satisfaction in having their fill of immortal humans. However, it could also be said that such a world is where humans will surpass devils, rendering their existence pointless. Without death, there would be no real fear. Even in a world of constant pain, humans would lose the need for fear and thus the creation of meaning. This also means that emotions, sentiments, motives, everything becomes less real. Only the war matters, and this nihilistic, empty world is a far worse version of our already messed up world. Our world has capitalistic, imperialistic forces like America sucking the life out of the peripheries to promote the empty engine of gain and profit for the upper class. The gradual boredom of the middle and lower classes, who are cut off more and more from real experiences and real bonds, is a problem. It might get worse in a world without death. People will still kill each other, but for no real reason. All meaning will be deprived, replaced only with a lust for power and carnage to fill the even greater boredom brought about by Yoru's world. Character regression or assassination. Throughout the recent arcs, even after the terrible hand Denji has been dealt with through the loss of his home, pets, and adopted sister, his carnal desires continue to play on repeat. He experiences moments of clarity during the Aging Devil arc, where he feels guilt about being empty-headed toward his sexual impulses. In the current arc, his feelings are similar. However, it seems Fujimoto is not going to allow Denji to heal from his traumatic wounds with at least some level of healthiness. While Denji continues to find his motivation to live by having someone else, such as Asa, he is now at a point where he intends to fight Yoru, even risking the loss of Asa, someone he genuinely cares for. Denji's concept of love is utterly broken, both due to his status as a male victim to characters like Makima and the downward spiral of his life whenever he tries to get his act together. While this frustrating character regression may be cyclical, it could also be part of Denji's journey towards some form of realization by the story's end. Fire Punch didn't end with Agni becoming a violent avenger, but he always undergoes some form of reset in each part of the story, with 2 moments being memory wipes. However, there's a concern that Fujimoto might have lost the plot by allowing Denji to get distracted by trivial matters like panties. This could be a subconscious expression of Fujimoto's own lack of focus or drive to provide Denji with proper catharsis. Unlike Fire Punch, where catharsis was a central theme through Togata and Chainsaw Man Part 2, for all its meta-commentary on American and Japanese society's views of sex and aging, it doesn't direct its main character in a literal sense towards exploring that theme. The very first arc of Fire Punch had one character act as a director to move the plot forward, similar to a manipulative villain. That was Makima's role in Part 1. But in Part 2, our mastermind Death is unable to move the plot forward because she herself is its greatest victim. Originally, Death was set up as the final threat, and when we meet her, we see that she can't stop her destiny to end the world. However, the idea of ending death itself becomes the ultimate existential threat of Chainsaw Man. This is an intriguing setup, but could also be seen as a representation of where Chainsaw Man is headed, a downward spiral towards repetitive monotony and unfulfillment. Denji's lack of an impetus, guiding force, can be pointed out here, but it's not embodied in a single character. Instead, it's embodied in a world of characters. This is what Part 2 lacks. As the story heads towards its finale, we see fewer and fewer characters, with only the main players remaining. Even that guy, who brought a fresh perspective to the arc, is insufficient to propel the plot forward. His role is merely to facilitate the chapter's plot, rather than developing encounters and experiences that Denji needs to gain insights into the world and himself, enabling him to act on his growing knowledge. In Part 1, we encountered Kishibe, Himeno, and numerous other characters who lived and died, all contributing to a vibrant tapestry that allowed Denji to grow, even as he retained his impulsive nature. In contrast, Chainsaw Man feels like an empty school building, devoid of a colorful world and a diverse cast of characters. This emptiness may be a deliberate element in Fujimoto's thesis, suggesting that we must endure frustration and witness the unfolding of the story as a test of our media literacy. Thank you for watching this video. Please like and subscribe for more content. ShryphonX out.